My name is Joanne,
Hi, I'm Judy, and we have a special guest with us tonight.
and her name is Shannon Lundin.
Hi, thank you for having me.
All right, and Shannon is a part of the Charlestown Coalition that is a part of Mass General Hospital.
Yes, so the Charlestown Coalition is a program of Mass General Hospital Center for Community Health Improvement. The coalition was established around 2003, 2004 as a response to the fatal overdose epidemic. It used to formally be called the Charlestown Substance Abuse Coalition, and we recently changed our name about a year ago because since we've evolved over the years, the coalition has started doing a lot more, not just around substance abuse, but we have a youth campaign called Turn It Around Charlestown around the dangers of prescription drug misuse. We have one of my coworkers, her role is called the Family Circle position, and she works with a lot of families and at-risk youths that live in the Charlestown community. So we're doing a lot of different things. We have a trauma response group where it's a group of the natural leaders in the community who kind of respond when, traumatic events happen in or around the community.
So do you have people that go out after there's been an overdose and talk to the families?
So that's actually something that we've been working on for quite a while. So when my position was first created, which was around 2008, 2009, I started working for the coalition or the Charlestown Substance Abuse Coalition around 2008, 2009 as an administrative assistant. And I'm no administrative assistant. I mean, I can do all those things, but that's not what I wanted to do. But my former supervisor, her name was Beth Rosenshine, she actually created the coalition, and while I was working there as the administrative assistant, a grant came out called the Mass Call 2 grant, which was around the opiate overdose prevention. And so a lot of different communities had received that grant: Charlestown, Roxbury, Jamaica Plain, South Boston, and obviously each community is different, so the strategy in each community would be different. So we did a bunch of focus groups in the community with the community members, with the schools, with the fire department, with the police department, all the other organizations, and really talked about what the community wanted to come from this grant. And so the first idea was kind of like a one-stop shop, like a recovery support center, which is still my dream till this day. That's millions and millions of dollars, and we didn't have the money for that. But the next strategy was to kind of have somebody who could help people who struggled with substance use to sort of navigate the treatment systems, kind of like hold their hand. In Charlestown, how Charlestown is. I mean, you couldn't really have an outsider come in at that time and go up to somebody from the town who was struggling with addiction and say, you need to go into treatment. They kind of had to be someone from the community that went through the same things. And at that point, I was about 4 or 5 years sober myself. So the community actually wrote letters into my former supervisor asking to see me in the role, and that's how I got to the role that I'm in today. But we do talk a lot about going, door to door when somebody overdoses within the next 24 to 48 hours. It's kind of something I do informally already, but it's something that we're adding into our trauma response working group and just figuring out a plan that works best, where everybody can be safe and just make sure that we get the right resources and supports out there, whether it's fatal or non-fatal.
Right. Now, are you considered a recovery coach, or what is your title?
So my title is Community Outreach Coordinator, and so I did go to the Recovery Coach Academy. I went to the Recovery Coach Supervisors Training, and I am getting the certification in June, but that's not my technical role. The Mass General Hospital does have recovery coaches that are more hospital-based, whereas my role is more community-based. So I also do the treatment coordination for the Charlestown Division of the Boston Municipal Court for the Charlestown Drug Court.
Well, I'm very, very happy to see that the Mass General are using recovery coaches. I think it's very, very important. The other night I was at a meeting, the Moore meeting as a matter of fact, and we were talking about recovery coaches, and I always thought that it would be a good idea that we have so many physicians and nurses that deal with, on a daily basis, lots of people that come in for overdoses, that it would give them a chance to relax while someone else is trying to work with the person, so that they're not having the same,
interactions.
Right.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it gets to the point where they start to judge. And that's the one thing I hate to see, is anybody judging a person.
And we've noticed, too, that the recovery coaches at the hospitals are also like the counselors or the psychiatrists, and it has to be within their working.
It's that peer-to-peer
hours.
model, that peer-to-peer support that's really effective when you're, engaging with someone that struggles with substance use disorder or someone that's in active addiction, I think is what's really what you're talking about, Joanne, just that peer-to-peer, not that, I'm up here, you're down here, and
Yeah.
not that doctors or physicians or nurses come off that way, but I think that the patient or the client might come in feeling that way already or see that that's what the relationship is.
Right.
And
true.
a lot of times I wonder if that's like, because I know that me and Joanne had gone to a meeting, and they expressed their fear of aggressiveness with the patient. And sometimes I wonder if it's just complete frustration that they're crying out, but
You mean the providers?
yes, that it's that that the patients are abusing the doctors at the emergency rooms. They're saying they're mean, they're spitting at them and things like that. And I'm thinking to myself, but it's probably the frustration of of having the disease, trying to help yourself and kind of going to somewhere where it's like you're just a number.
I think that's part of it. I'm sure that people, the providers in the emergency rooms are frustrated when they constantly have people coming in and out who are overdosing. At the same time, I feel like there needs to be more education at that level. Because there are so many people that do go to the emergency rooms and they go for help, and whether it's their first time or whether it's their 20th time, they're still a human being and they still deserve to be treated like such. And not that it's okay for someone to go in there and treat a physician or a nurse or whatever any way that they want, but I think it goes both ways.
It does definitely go both ways.
Well, but I think that they feel more comfortable with someone that has gone through the same thing, and they see that that person recovered and that they're doing well. So it is obtainable,
Of course.
always to have the hope
So
and
let's
the
hope
faith.
that they use the recovery coaches. I mean, they're coming out now.
Oh yeah, the recovery coach is like the new thing. A lot like hospitals, a lot of health centers, the courts, a variety of treatment programs are now really looking at the recovery coach model and hiring folks for those roles.
Right. I think that's a great thing. I really do. I mean, Judy and I both went to recovery coach classes, but we're not interested. Well, I'm not interested in actually being a recovery coach and getting paid for that type of a job. But the thing is, it's good to find out, how to treat a person. And you can't make decisions. As parents, as mothers, we want to say, well, you're going to do this. And we know at that point that we can't force them. That all you have to do is just to be down at their level and let's talk. Maybe we can help you make a decision. But it is your plan, so you're the one that's going to have to
I know for me, so with a lot of my clients or patients, I go back and forth with what I want to call them. It's definitely individualized. I use a different approach with each person. So some people might need to be kind of coddled a little more, and then some people might need to be okay, well, this is what you're going to do, and this is how you're going to do it, and you're going to do it whether you like it or not. I have quite a few clients that respond to that approach, believe it or not. So
Right.
I think it's just really getting to know the client or the patient and really figuring out which approach works best and which the most appropriate level of care.
Right. It's true. Everybody is different, so you can't treat them all the same.
Right.
I think
because I
taking that recovery coach program was actually probably very beneficial as a parent. Of somebody that's suffering from addiction, that it really opened my eyes to a lot of things, bad habits that I was doing. Sometimes I was creating it instead of helping it.
Right.
And now it's I know how to hit the switch. And I know when not to say anything. I know when to say something, but I also know what to say and what not to say.
That's a wonderful
But then sometimes I feel bad because I feel that it's you're giving somebody enough rope to hang themselves,
Right.
kind of, because you're not supposed to be doing that, and you can't say that, and you can't steer them, and that's why.
I think either way you go, it's coulda, shoulda, woulda. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Should I have done this? Should I have done that? You know, and you can do that to yourself regardless of what decision you make or whatever you do at the time.
You know what I always say, and I say this often, and this sometimes when you think about it this way, a lot of parents and a lot of loved ones won't go and actually talk to their loved one about getting services because they don't want to get them upset. They don't want to get angry at them.
My mother was the opposite.
Right. But isn't it better to do that than after they're 6 feet under, you say, I
Yep.
should have done something?
Right, because I feel like if you care, you should say anything, regardless if it's your brother, your mother, your sister. It doesn't matter. And even a complete stranger. I mean, I've had talks with people, and they're like, "What? You're very blunt," and I'm like, "Because death is even blunter."
I mean, for me, like I was when I grew up, all my friends' mothers would like cover for them or things like that. My mother never did that. My mother, you know, she went and called. I remember one day I got my oldest daughter, she was like 3 at the time, and I got a note, envelope on my door. And it was from DCF saying that they wanted to come out and meet with me. And I was furious. And I share this when I share my experience, strength, and hope. Who called on me? That's all I cared about was who called DCF on me. Not really thinking about what could potentially happen, you know, with this visit with the DCF worker. So finally it happens, and it was me and my mother and the DCF worker, and I'm badgering this lady, badgering her, like, who called on me? This is Charlestown. I could tell you a few things about this one and that one. And my mother slammed her hand on the table, and she said, I called. And she got temporary guardianship of my daughter, and I still did a little running around at that point, and then finally went into treatment. But I mean, I was on probation down in Charlestown Court. If she saw me running around down the street when I had a warrant, she picked up the phone. I just saw her down on Main Street. And so at the time, I'm like, why is my mother doing this to me? Why is she telling on me all the time? And like, you know, now myself working down at the court doing the Charlestown drug court, and I see a lot of Section 35s. I see a lot of things that are going on in there because, you know, directly related to, you know, drug abuse. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's why she did that. And I really believe that if she didn't do what she did back then, that I wouldn't be here now. She's a big part of that.
That's great.
You've lost a lot.
Yeah, my mom died of cancer in 2008. She gave me my 3-year medallion and then died about 8 months later. And so, you know, as sad as it is and as much as I wish that she was here, what better gift could I ever ask for is that I was clean and sober when she passed away and that she didn't have to worry about me anymore.
Yeah.
And now here I am coming up on 13 years.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And that was nice that she saw you flourish. She seen you turn into a flower. Wow.
Being a parent, we have to do what we have to do, whether it's like someone had said to me, well, for a while there, my son and I didn't speak, my youngest. And I said, you know what? If it's meant to be, we'll speak again. But as far as I was concerned, you had to stop what was happening, you know, and you had to do what was best for, because everybody always fears the fear of the unknown, right? We don't know how it's going to be or what's going to happen in our relationships.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's what your mother took a chance. But then in the long run, she gave you a blessing.
Yep. And, you know, one thing I constantly think about is, you know, I wish that she was here so I could sit down and tell her about all the things that are going on and all the work that's going on in regards to this, the opioid crisis and, you know, all the things that I'm doing and everything that's going on in my life. But, you know, she knows.
Yeah.
You know,
She sits with you. I always, you know, just
standing right behind you.
talking about things like that, that's one thing that I wish that my father saw. You know, he didn't get to see that. You know, he didn't get to see me, you know, now. But I just love the fact that she was so frank with you. She told me she did it.
She really, really was. The funny thing is so like she actually, when I was on probation for a period of time, she actually met my probation officer before I did because she would have him at the house for like coffee or, well, come in, she's not here. And now that's actually the same probation officer I work side by side with, doing the drug court. So yeah, so it's pretty cool. He says I boss him around too much now, but
Well, let's talk about when did you get introduced to drugs?
So I probably had like my first drink around the age of 12, and it was coffee brandy. I remember that because my mother didn't drink. She didn't do drugs. My father was an alcoholic and a drug addict. You know, he would hit my mother every night when he came home, and the cops would always come, and then there was restraining orders and all that, yada, yada, yada. And, you know, I remember being 12 years old, and I was at that awkward age where I felt like I felt ugly, I felt stupid, I felt worthless, and I always felt like something must be wrong with me. And so, because here's this man, my father, now he's not in my life at all, and he's supposed to love me, protect me, provide for me, and he's not doing that, so something must be wrong with me. So I carried that with me, and I, 12 years old, started hanging around boys and had all those insecurities, and, I had my first drink at the schoolyard in Charlestown, and I remember I couldn't wait to do it again. And then you know how that goes. It progresses with the marijuana and the Klonopins and the cocaine and ecstasy. And cocaine was my drug of choice for a really, really long time. And then I started doing Oxycontins to come down from that. And then I didn't want anything to do with the cocaine anymore. And it was definitely heroin that brought me to my knees. I've overdosed multiple times. And, with all the loss I've suffered in my life, I constantly question, like, why not me? And like I know I got to stop doing that at the same time, but I constantly think about it, and I am really, really grateful. I went to several different Somerville detox. I would only go to Somerville detox because it was my favorite detox. And like I remember someone like, what do you mean you'll only go to Somerville detox because it's your favorite detox? Who wants to have a favorite detox? Like, that's your goal in life, is to go to Somerville? I'm like, yeah, I want to go there. And I went to Somerville detox. I went to the Heritage on Central Street.
Oh my God,
yeah, I was
that's
there.
like
I was
old
there.
school.
Yep, I went to Albany Street Shelter over in Cambridge. It was a number of different programs. And so finally I went to the Meridian House, which was temporarily in Charlestown at the time because it was getting renovated in East Boston. I had no idea what the Meridian House was. All I knew was that it was in Charlestown and that there was boys there, so I'll go there. And my plan, was to just kind of go there for 30 days, get the PO off my back, get my mother off my back. I didn't plan to get sober, and it wasn't because I just didn't think it could happen for me, to be honest with you. Like, it could work for you, it could work for you, can't work for me. And so when I was there, I overheard other clients saying, oh, I've been here for 6 months, I've been here for 8 months. I'm like, wait a minute, how long is this place? They're like 9 months to a year. I'm like, oh, I'm only here for 30 days.
Right, I just want to let you know that.
I got stipulated, and the program manager at the time, this Irish boxer from County Kerry named Tony, and he was so hard on me. You could break the same rule on the same day at the same time, and I'd get a more extreme consequence. And I'm so grateful for that relationship. I'm still close with him today. But he really rode me. And, I overheard like clients talking in the beginning of my journey at the Meridian House, oh, I give her 3 weeks. And so when someone tells me I can't do something, that fuels me. So it was really spite that got me through for a while. And then I realized it wasn't about anybody else, and it was about me. And I remember someone said to me, Shannon, would you die for your daughter? And I'm like, of course I would. Of course I'd die for my daughter. And they said, well, why don't you live for her? And that really, really struck me.
Right.
And I know that they say, oh, you can't do it for anybody else. You got to do it for yourself. Or, but I didn't love myself enough at that point. And like, I really loved my daughters, and loved my daughters so much that that's what I used to motivate me in the beginning until, I realized I'm no good to her unless I take care of myself first. And then I did it for myself. And fast forward, here I am 13 years later. But I went to the UMass Boston alcohol and substance abuse certification program, and I worked at the Cushing House for 2 years, the girls' adolescent program, and then I've been at the Coalition since 2009, so busy girl.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
And I'm sure I see the pictures of you and your daughters. And you had a second child.
Yes, so I had my second daughter in recovery, so she's never seen me drink a drug. So my oldest daughter, who's going to be 18 in July, oh God, so she was 4 going on 5 when I got sober, and I say to her, I've said to her before, like, is there anything that you remember that you want to talk about? She goes, I just remember you being in the bathroom a long time. And so last year, on my 12-year anniversary, both my daughters attended the meeting. And I shared my whole story, and I talked to my youngest daughter, Olivia, and I said to her, Liv, is there any questions you want to ask me about what you heard or, anything? And she says, I just want to know why, when you were a little girl, did you have to see your father hit your mother? That's the only thing she focused on.
Aww.
Not that I stuck a needle in my arm, not that I got arrested, not that I lied, not that I cheated, not that I stole.
Someone
just
hurt
that
Nana.
someone hurt me. Yeah, and when I was a little girl, and that I had to experience that. And, we have at the coalition, we have a campaign called Turn It Around Charlestown, and it's a youth campaign around the dangers of prescription drug misuse. And so when the campaign first started, which was about 5 years ago, we had about 7 kids. And so my oldest daughter, Lainey, was an original member, and she's still part of that group today. And now we're up to 40 kids. And so we have a very large, a diverse group of kids who all meet every single Thursday, and we think about ideas of ways that we can promote the campaign, new events that we can come up with. We just had a 3rd annual 3-on-3 basketball tournament. We had 92 kids who registered to play basketball.
Nice.
And we raised, and so the Coalition is a program of Mass General, and Turn It Around is a program of the Coalition, but Turn It Around isn't funded by Mass General. Turn It Around is funded through grants. And so, we accept donations. If anybody wanted to,
Why don't you tell them?
If anybody wanted to donate to the Turn It Around Charlestown campaign, you would make the check out to the Boys and Girls Club Charlestown. But in the memo, you have to specify Turn It Around, or the donation won't go to the Turn It Around campaign. It will go to the Boys and Girls Club. But, we really connect these kids to summer jobs. We help them get their permits. Is it next week? Yep, next week we're opening them all up bank accounts. None of these kids have bank accounts. They don't know how to do any of this stuff, So these are all things that we as a team at the Coalition sit down with each kid individually and figure out what their needs are and how we can best serve them and get them connected to those things.
Now, if you were a kid, how do you get into Charlestown?
So you have to be from the Charlestown community. And, we meet every Thursday from 5 to 6, sometimes 6:30 at 10 Green Street, which is the First Church Charlestown, right across the street from the Boys and Girls Club. Our offices are located at the Boys and Girls Club at 15 Green Street on the 3rd floor. So if anybody wanted to come check out Turn It Around, you can give me a call. My phone number is 617-320-9058.
Say it again. So they hear.
My phone number is 617-320-9058. We have a Facebook page and a Twitter page and an Instagram, Turn It Around, and the Charlestown Coalition, so go like us on all of them.
Absolutely. No, me and Joanne, we tabled an event. God, it was
the
like
barbecue.
2 years ago. Was it about 2 years ago?
You were there last, someone was there last summer too.
Okay.
Yep.
And I was very impressed when it was just like a round table with all the tables.
At the park.
And all of a sudden, the kids came out of the school.
That's the plan.
I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And they came and walked over, and you actually made it like a little game.
Passport.
Yes.
So every September, which you guys know is National Recovery Month, we create a calendar of events to celebrate Recovery Month. So we kick off Recovery Month with a Turn It Around barbecue. And so we invite all the other organizations in the community and in the neighboring communities to come and, put out a table and give us out information about their organization. And we call it a passport to recovery. So all the kids that are coming out of school at that time, and then, all the folks from the community, they go and pick up their passport, and they got to go visit each table and get a stamp.
And we get a stamp.
And then they get their food at the end.
Yes.
So then they learn about all the other organizations in and around the community.
And which was great, too, because we got a really good video from someone who cares about prevention on families. And each and every single one of them kids took one. So I was really, really happy
strengthening
that
the family.
strengthening of the family, which I was really happy because I was pretty impressed when I sat down and watched it myself. So, but that was quite.
Yeah.
We lost Jimmy and Christian, Matt Gammon's son, to the National Guard. They had the video.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they had the truck
we had
pull
the
up
National Guard there with the video games.
Yeah, so And it
Of
was,
course,
yeah, it was,
anything around the game.
Yep.
yeah, it was
It's
funny
true.
at the time because Jimmy joined Boy Scouts, Jimmy was joining this, he was joining that. Then I'm like, where's Jim? They're like, National Guard. I'm like, no, don't sign it.
Yeah. Oh, no.
No, we really did have a good time that day.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting
Yes.
us.
Of course. And then we, you know, we have the vigil that we do every year. We do it
Yes.
at Hayes Square in Charlestown. So this upcoming September will be 9 years. And, you know, we do a slideshow with everyone's picture. We ring the bell. You guys do the same thing.
When are you planning on that? Because
We
we're,
do it every September.
yeah, we do too. So I
Usually
want to be able to come to yours, and we're going to be doing
We
ours probably on
usually-
the 19th, which is a Tuesday, I think.
Oh, yeah, we do it on a Saturday. So we do it like the third Saturday of
Yeah.
the month.
I still think that it would be such a really good idea, and I know it's so hard to get everybody together to have one vigil with all the cities.
They do something like that down in Boston Common for Boston. I know that they did it last September and then the one before that, but I'm not sure how many years that they've been doing that. So maybe we could reach out to somebody.
And they call each name of all the cities, or
I'm not sure.
see, that's what
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
like. I would like a representative
From
of-
each town.
from
yeah.
each town to get up and say their names.
Yep.
Because I have a box.
Yeah.
I mean, I
know. We had
She's
over.
in charge of it.
and I wouldn't, and I have the utmost respect for that box, and my box is beautiful, and I keep it in a very special place,
And bring it out every year.
Yeah.
and I bring it out every
Oh,
year,
we
and I hold it. I don't put it down. I don't let no one touch it. You know, I sort it all out
Yeah.
and things like that. I said because these are people's loved ones.
It's true.
But we do. Shannon's loved ones are in our
Yeah.
video.
Oh, yeah, we
and-
do. You
Yeah,
don't have to
we
be
do-
from
right,
Charlestown.
we
We do
do.
whoever
Right, we
sends in
have
their
it.
picture or their name. We actually, last year, we started having the Turn It Around kids wear their Turn It Around T-shirts and read the names because it's coming from the prevention end and then,
Right.
you know.
That sounds
Plus,
beautiful.
I honestly think that we had a woman last year from Cambridge Health Alliance, and I walked up to her and asked her, would you say names? And she was like, well, yeah, and it was very
Surprise.
very emotional for her because it's one thing to know them, one thing to put a number to a name, it's another to actually see a picture of them and
Yeah.
call their names out and see that, you know, it's sad.
Right.
Do you have any events that are happening that you would like to?
Well, in June, we have our annual prescription take-back day. So, as you know, Charlestown every June celebrates Bunker Hill Day. We have the Bunker Hill Day Parade, which is June 12th this year. So the Saturday before the parade every year is open market when all the organizations in the community, they put their tables out, they give away prizes, they do promotions. We have tables out in front of CVS down at the mini mall. And we partner with businesses in the community and we get $5 gift cards. And so if you come and return your prescription, then you get a $5 gift card of your choice from participating businesses. So last year we collected over 1,000 prescriptions.
That's a good,
So,
that's
and we
very
have the drug
clever.
control
Is
unit
that
there.
your correct number up there?
That's me. Nope, it's 9058.
9058. 90.
My fault. Is it my writing? Yeah. So that's going to be coming up in June. So we really plan big for that. Like I said, last year we collected over 1,000
That's amazing.
prescriptions. Yeah. So it was
But
really.
people like getting something back for it. I think it's so clever.
Yep. We have a pharmacist from MGH come and they handle all the meds, and then we have someone from the drug control unit just to watch over everything. Yep. And the Charlestown court's always very helpful. They're always very supportive of our events.
All right, so does Charlestown have their own police station or?
Yeah, Charlestown has a substation,
Right.
but it's not open 24/7.
Oh, okay.
So
So then you don't really have a kiosk there that they can go
no,
in
that
and do a 20
there's the kiosk is over at Area A, and that's why it's not there because it's not.
And it must be hard to share yourselves with Boston.
We are Boston.
Right, but I always think Charlestown's like, check, you have to go over the
Charlestown's
bridge.
Boston,
You
Judy.
have to go over the bridge.
Well, Boston has a lot of boroughs.
Yeah.
And
True.
being a directory operator, I knew it very well. But also, you just recently lost someone very special to you, and I didn't know if you wanted to mention what had
Yeah,
happened.
I've suffered a lot of losses.
We were actually going to have you on the show, like I think it was the
That's
week,
what happened, and
we,
then yeah,
we canceled it.
Right.
We just rescheduled
Yeah.
it for you because it was just too much. for
yeah.
you.
So you know, I've lost, like, we've all lost a lot of people, but
Yeah.
I mean, I've lost a lot of people that I'm very, very close with and had like really strong bonds with. But this past November, the father of my 2 children, Lainey and Olivia, he passed away on November 11th. And his brother had died in 2013 and his sister died in 2003. And so,
She lost all her children.
yes, so I was there for all of that. So, you know, I was there at his sister's wake and funeral. I was there at his brother's wake and funeral. I did his brother's eulogy. And now here I am doing the father of my children's eulogy. And regardless of whatever our relationship was, you know, whether I was mad at him or he was mad at me, you know, we still had a really strong connection because we went through so much together. We had a long history. We were bonded through traumatic experience, and we have our 2 children. You know, the last thing I would ever want was to have to tell my children that their father is gone, you know. So that's probably one of the hardest things that I've ever gone through in my life and in my recovery. I mean, literally, I didn't sleep, I didn't eat, I didn't shower for days. His backpack got sent to my house, and you know, he was staying at a friend's house out in California where he died. They were in AA, and they didn't really know much about like drug addiction. So I open his backpack, and I find 2 40s of black tar heroin. And so here I am at my most vulnerable moment.
Yeah.
And like, you know, to me, addiction is like a tactic of the devil. And if he wants to take me out, this would be the time to do it. And like, of course, I flushed it down the toilet. But I tell you, if I didn't have the faith that I have, like, I actually am a youth leader at a church here in Somerville called Christian Assembly at 9 Cumming Street.
No, that's by the 99,
That's
right?
by the 99. I've been at that church for about 9 years, and I've been a youth leader there for about 5 years. And it's really just one big happy family there. Like, they don't judge people. They don't point their finger at you. They really have a heart to serve the Somerville community and the surrounding communities, and, you know, help those who are lost and broken. And
So they help with addiction.
oh, I mean, they just want, yeah.
See,
I mean,
that amazes me.
we actually
that
have
you're
been doing,
church.
they do different groups during the year. You know, some people who, you know, like one particular group is, they call it, you know, a recovery group, but they're talking about like a recovery from all like strongholds and things that your bondages and things like that. And it's just really, really one big family there. And I know for me that without my faith in God, who I choose to call Jesus, I wouldn't be where I am right now, and I wouldn't have gotten through what I went through in November, losing the father of my children. So
Yeah, I notice you always talk about God every day.
I'm not ashamed to talk about my faith. It's, you know, it's not about religion, it's about a relationship. And, you know, he, for some reason, chose to deliver me and set me free out of the grips of addiction. And I really believe what was meant for my harm, he's using for my good. And so I have to, when I start taking credit, I'm in trouble. And so I really have to give him the credit for where I am. It's not me, it's all him.
You know, and what people sometimes don't understand, it's like where you actually came from. You came from
Yeah.
the bellows
Yep.
of the belly of a beast. And I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
Because, I mean, I've known you for quite a long time. And it's just amazing on their 2 completely different lives.
It's I think about that all the
Completely
time.
different lives.
I mean, Charlestown had the highest fatal overdose rate
Yes.
in 2005. Charlestown is 1
you
square
have
mile.
lost all your friends.
And I've overdosed so many times. And so, like, sometimes I'm just like, you know, why did you choose to see? Like, why am I still here? And at the same time, like, I don't want to question it. You know, it's his purpose for me. And, like, I have to accept that and live out his will and not my own.
And I think it's beautiful that you chose to come back
Mhm.
and step up and help.
I mean,
Because I think that's the important part.
as devastated as I am about losing the father of my children, it just really drives me more to want to continue fighting this fight, you know, even as exhausting as it is sometimes, or even as discouraging as it is when you're constantly hearing about another death, and it's like we just never see a way out. I don't see a way out sometimes, but then, you know, I have clients, like I have a guy who just last Monday I gave him his 1-year medallion. Like when I would send him to detox, he was an alcoholic. He would walk from Danvers to Charlestown. They would say, Shannon, send him with the hat and gloves and take the money they gave him for the train and stop at the liquor store. He'd walk. He'd walk from Tewksbury, homeless, sleeping behind CVS, you know, and now he just celebrated a year. And I have another, you know, ex-client that she was homeless. She was living over at Logan Airport, and, you know, she's coming up on 3 years, and she's a recovery coach, and she's working in the field. So, like, when I really start getting discouraged, I really start thinking about the people that I've worked with that are doing well, yeah.
You know, Matt says that all the time, Matt Gammon. He always says, when there's so much sadness, that you need to remember that there is twice as many people in recovery. But then, of all this sadness, of all these things, and all this chaos and creativity, you found the love.
Yeah, I did.
You found the love, and I think that that's amazing too, because it's almost like you how would you say it? You suffered, you pay back, you pay forward with your time, everything, and you were rewarded at the end.
Yes. Shannon's going to get married.
I'm getting married. Sorry, guys.
Mark's a very lucky man, and I'm sure that you're a lucky woman.
Oh, I'm so lucky. I seriously, and I say this to him, and I say it about him all the time, I have never, ever been treated so good in my life. Like, if ever...
Doesn't it feel
I
like
can't think of anyone better that I would want my girls to see as an example of how a man should treat a woman, because he's so good to me and he loves me so much and would do anything for me. And you know, like, I trust him. I don't ever worry about like what he says he's doing or where he's like that stupid like high school stuff, or you know, that those dramatic unhealthy. Yeah, and I'm very, very lucky, and I'm really excited to start our new journey with each other as husband and wife. We're getting married in November, so I'm excited and scared at the same time.
Are you going to stay in Charlestown, or are you guys going to
I think temporarily, but our goal is to buy a house and move on up.
Yeah, right. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's it's rewarding to know that you could come from, you know, such a place, and it's just believing in yourself.
Yep.
And I just think that's
there is hope.
There is. Even if it's a crack of light, it's there.
I always say you have to believe.
Yeah.
Yep, it's true.
Yes.
And the thing is that where he treats you so good, that he treats your daughters as well with respect and love, and that's what you need.
And that's what they're going to look for when they go out to seek a husband. And I think that that's so important. I think that these children are so misguided.
It's true.
That they don't know where they're going. And
but if their mom's going to keep on top of them.
Oh yeah. I'm not messing around.
And it's so crazy, because it's almost like we belong to a secret society. We belong to this society that people they don't want to know us until something happens, and then they need us. So I find that very hard to equal out.
Now, do you do any work with the parents as well? I mean, you have to turn it around, and you're working with. First of all, what age group do you work with?
Turn it around is mainly like 12 to 18-year-olds, but we do have some 19, 20, 21s who are still lingering because they were a part of the original crew. So they still kind of come back and help out and give back, and
And you know what, to tell you the truth, that is also a compliment.
Yeah.
When they still want to hang around and they're older, it's like they grew with you in the program. So
And I think that's great that they come back and pay forward also, because then the younger kids can
Yeah.
gives them something when they grow up. I'm gonna do this.
Judy and I feel that we always we tell people have a plan,
Yeah.
you know, and we want them to have a plan in case they find out that their child is using. And if they have the plan already there, like they pick their dentist, they pick their pediatricians, they, you know, follow through every dentist.
No.
So why not have a plan for in case you do find out? So do the research as to what's available. And Mass General does have an adolescent program.
It's
Yes,
arms,
it's called
right?
the ARMS program, Addiction Recovery Management Services, and it's over at Merrimack Street. So those are for youth up to the age of 24, and it's really a lot of family involvement, like you were just asking about. So they involve the parents, siblings, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, because I know that we support them. We do, you know, we'll give them shout outs and things like that, because me and Joanne, we feel that addiction is just not the person, you know, that
It's a
suffers
symptom.
from the disease. It's everybody's problem,
Right.
and one could destroy you, your whole family. Sometimes you have all your children,
Right.
and that's it's just I don't know.
See, I'd just like to say to the parents, you know, we do the best that we can raising our children, and we want to give them the best in life. And we realize that, but just be aware that even though you're that type of a parent and you watch over your children all the time, you never know who they're going to find.
Right.
I mean,
Who they're
look
going
at
to end
your
up
mom.
associating with you.
You know, your mom didn't.
She didn't
No,
drink,
you
do drugs.
neither.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of crazy that.
So don't always think that
Right.
it's not going to happen to me, it's not going to
Yeah.
happen to my
Yeah.
child.
It doesn't discriminate.
No, it does not. And that's why I say, please, talk to your children about it, get your plan ready, make sure. I hope that you never have to open up that piece of paper to call a number
Yeah.
for ARMS or to your pediatrician to find out.
But it's good to have it, because when it does happen, it happens so swift and so furious that you don't have time to do all that research. You really don't. And I think that this plan should be updated.
Right.
It should have with mental health programs, and a lot of times, what you really have to look into the programs too, because some are co-ed, some are up to 24. You don't want.
Yeah, you want to
you
make
don't
sure
want
they
your
get the most
baby
appropriate level of care.
Yes, you know, being, you know,
Not like Shannon that wants to be there because there's boys.
because there's boys.
Hey, it worked.
I know.
And it
Hey,
worked.
That's
was
a good thing.
It was a 9 to 12 month program. I graduated at 14 months. They called me their most challenging client.
And we're very proud of you.
But, you know, we also do a lot of education and prevention curriculum in our local middle schools. We have Prevention Month during October, so we have a speaker series where we have people come out and share their stories with the kids. We do a life skills curriculum in the local schools, just kind of teaching the kids about basic life skills and like the peer pressure and reputation.
And what do you feel about life skills? Do you feel that it's geared to it, actually to the younger kids and not mostly to the older kids?
I think
right?
there's different versions.
Right, there are different versions because Judy and I also
Right.
got, we talked about that one time, but we are also certified in that as well as All Stars.
Oh, I did All Stars too.
Well, I liked
Yeah,
All Stars
yeah.
better for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's the communication between you and the child. That's amazing. You know, it gives you options, and you know, because we played it
Right.
there, and I was really pretty impressed by it.
Yep.
We had a good time.
Yeah,
We
That's
did.
pretty cool.
And that's what you want the kids to open up. And you want them to talk about
And
what
I
they
like
want in life and what they
Yeah.
don't want in life.
And then the fact that you do need to trust somebody, that it almost gives you a little thing to go out and find someone that you can talk to, and it doesn't have to be like me, you. If they want to talk to you, then you know that's fine.
Because
and
sometimes they can't talk to the parents.
right.
Right. True.
You know, and maybe they are able to talk to the aunt or whatever. That it's okay as long as you get help.
As long as it, yeah.
Right, as long as it's being discussed. And I think too, for parents, that you know that's that's a big plus too. It needs to be discussed. At what level is your discretion? But it needs to be discussed because sometimes it's not your child. It could be your child's friend.
That's right.
And being a friend, you're going to try to help that person.
Right. Now I have a friend that actually, we're just acquaintances from the high school, and she says, you know what, there's different types of communication. Sometimes this person might not do anything because that's just a friend, but if they're involved with the relationship, they might at that point go to the drug. You know what I mean? Because all of a sudden they see love. You know, that, so you have to look at it that way too.
It's social also. You're going to go to the party and you two are having a drink and I'm just sitting there. My father always said, you go to the barber shop long enough, you're going to get a haircut.
The good thing is, I think over the last 5 years or so, there's been a lot more supports and resources that are available that weren't always there before. So there's a lot more out there for people to look up and reach out to if there was an issue. Yeah. So
Social media. Social media alone, the groups that they have, like the New Magnolia, you have the grief groups, and now they're actually New
England
Denise. She opened up a group, but it's everybody. It's an everybody. A you, me, him, them. Throw a few kids in there, and we all talk about it. So when they're talking, you have an aspect. You have an aspect of the addict. You have an aspect of the mom, the brother, the sister,
the family dynamics,
and it's just the friend.
The first meeting that I went to, they had it, and they even have slideshows. And they said codependency, talking about codependency, and there were people from different programs. I forget what the program was in Haverhill. There were mothers that had children that were actually in treatment. I was there as a mother that lost her child, but also as a part of SOA. And the woman to the right of me was there with her daughter. And her daughter was really upset because she loves her sister, and like her sister was homeless. And so it's like everybody did get there, and there were 2 people from different houses that were there also. So it was great to get everybody all in the same room, and we had a pastor. And the pastor was talking about his parish and how a lot of them suffer from addiction.
You should have my pastor on.
We should.
We
would
He
love
would do it.
We would love to do that.
Pastor Frank, we're calling you out.
Calling you out, Pastor Frank.
As a matter of fact, Pastor Frank, we're looking for a pastor that will actually do this new program. And maybe you'll be the one.
Well, let's talk about the because I know that I read a post about
The court.
The court.
So for many, many years, so the Charlestown Court is a division of Boston Municipal Court. And so it's one of the oldest courthouses in the city. And there's been rumors many, many times on many, many occasions over the years of the court closing. And so it's never happened. So every time it comes up again, they just think, oh, we've been hearing that for years, it's not going to happen. But this time there's actual a master draft plan to close the Charlestown Court. And
what happens in the Charlestown Court?
so it's a small court, but there is a lot going on down there. There's a lot of traffic in and out of there. We have a drug court operating that's been operating for the last 5 years, which I do the treatment coordination for. Right now we have about 15 participants. We've had about 7 graduations. Not graduations, completions, celebrations. They don't want to say, we don't want to say graduation. We don't want to imply that they're done, with their journey of their recovery because it's ongoing. We do a lot of Section 35 stuff down there. And now I realize that the other courthouse is only a bus ride away, but Charlestown's like its own little subculture. I just think it will create a lot of problems.
If they close it.
And if they close it, and there's already so much going on in the community
with go over the bridge,
with
right?
with the redevelopment and with the Sullivan Square stuff, and it's like everything in our community is changing, and I feel, the Charlestown Courthouse is like part of the fabric. And, you know, they just did a big article last week in the Patriot Bridge, you know, saying that it's just in the beginning stages of the discussion. And there is an email, if anybody wants to send comments about the possible closure of the Charlestown Court. But the comments you send need to be not to close the courthouse. So the more, the better. And I believe that they have the email address that you all can send your comments to, that they're going to put up on the screen in a few minutes. But the more comments, the better. We need your support. You know, if we go out and rally, we're going to need you to come with us, because this is something that we don't want to see happen. We don't want to see more condos in Charlestown. I'm sorry, we have enough.
We do too.
Yeah, you know,
Right.
and now they're, you know, the whole redevelopment down at BHA, the casino stuff, and all those things that are changing. You know, I don't think it's time for the courthouse to go.
No,
Not now, anyway.
no.
So-
I'll support you.
Yeah, and you know, and it is that bus ride.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, oh, it's just a bus ride, but sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's a big thing. So
You
Yeah.
change your mind.
you could definitely change
And
your
you know
mind.
the MBTA is always late. So.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
You have a lot of time to
Or
talk
it's
and
always
think.
broken down, and then before you know it, you're out. You're late. But before you get there, you get picked up on a warrant because you were late.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right.
So it's just like
So
leave
it
it
does.
alone.
So you do actually have a drug court there.
Yes, the drug court has been in existence for about 5 years now. My former supervisor, who I was just talking about, Beth Rosenshine, she and Chief Michelle Williams, who's the chief probation officer down there, we all sat around the table and they basically developed the drug court because, you know, all of the cases that were coming in and out of there were, you know, they were possession charges, distribution charges, you know, or people who are in violation because of their struggles with addiction. And the court just wants to help. They want to be part of the solution. They don't want to just lock people up. They want to give people a chance.
But I also think with the drug court, it separates you from the rest of the situations that are a part of the court.
Oh,
Whether
it's true.
you know, like
Yep.
driving, you know, without a license, registration.
It's a medical problem.
we
it's
have
not a
our own-
crime.
And I think it's
Right.
great to be able to, you know, we have stigma that we have to worry about. Why not have a small court? So now that these people go in there, they feel more comfortable. The fact that everybody that's in that
Do you know
court is
Somerville
there for
never
that
had
reason.
one?
They should. We have
Never.
our own
They've-
session.
No,
Yeah.
They never
I am
had
going to
one.
go down and talk to them.
Yeah.
I really think that Somerville should have a drug court. And if you believe that, you should call up the Somerville courthouse and tell them you need a drug court.
We should get a petition.
Do they put the address up on the screen for the people to send the comments? No?
I don't.
I don't think they did. I have it right here.
Okay,
so I
yeah.
can just read it to.
That's fine.
So phase 1 is planned to last 5 years, and public comments are being taken on the plan right now up until May 26th. To comment via email, do so at mp.public.comments@jud.state.ma.us. So
Why don't you repeat it again?
let me repeat it again. Joanne tells me
Yeah.
to repeat it. So to comment via email on the possible closing of the Charlestown court, which is not going to happen because we're going to get a lot of comments from
That's
people
right.
and a lot of support. So do so at mp.public, that's PUBLIC, .comments, COMMENTS, @jud.state.ma.us.
Great.
Thank you.
so much.
Yeah,
Do
thank
you
you guys for having
realize
me.
that we are like 3 minutes from
3 minutes from our hour.
Wow. And Judy ate all the oatmeal raisin cookies.
I ate all the oatmeal raisin cookies. I did.
Well, next time I better bring
sorry.
more.
Yeah,
You know, when I come down to visit you, I'll have to bring you some.
maybe when you guys are looking for another show, we could come over during Recovery Month. My supervisor, Sarah
I think that
Coughlin.
we're very
My coworker,
interested.
Denise,
We're
Olivia.
very interested in anybody that wants to spread the word
Yeah.
that we're here.
We also First Church in Charlestown, which is right across the street from our office.
Yeah.
So this is the oldest church in Boston, and hasn't been like really utilized for a long time. And now this couple comes in from Washington. Their names are Eric and Sarah Malloy. They're the sweetest people. He comes over to me. He says, "I have a heart for Charlestown. I want to serve the community." I tested him. I said, this is what the need is. He opened up his doors, and there's a meeting there every Wednesday night. Fast forward, we just lost the space for our Charlestown noontime meeting, which the noontime meeting in Charlestown has been there for almost 40 years.
A nooner.
7 days a week, and it's really the backbone of the recovery community. 7 days a week, and there's never less than 50 people there a day. So here we are scrambling around looking for space for people to go every day for their meeting, and we weren't finding anything. And Eric and Sarah at First Church, they opened their doors to us and they gave us their space Monday through Friday for the noontime meeting. So they're really supportive with the recovery community, and not just with people who struggle with addiction, but
all around,
community, as a whole. So they could come on, just let me know. I'll get people for you.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I
do
just
want to talk to your pastor
Yep,
about this.
my pastor, I'll talk to him about that.
I mean, you can't get enough out there. You can't get enough light, spirituality. You just can't. It needs to be put out there.
We're going to keep talking, but we want to thank everybody for watching the show.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Oh, anytime. We'd love to have you come back again.
I would
Did you
love to.
expect to have an hour go by this fast?
No, it did go by fast. I'm used to a half an hour, but not an hour, but okay, it
And just
works.
always remember that recovery happens. It's every day, all the time. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Oh, you won't. Did you get everything?